I'm Lester Paralimba and my report is about forest definition. Forest is best defined as an ecosystem or assemblage of ecosystems dominated by trees and other woody vegetation. Parts of a forest. The living parts of a forest include trees, shrubs, vines, grasses, and other herbaceous non-woody plants, mosses, algae, fungi, insects, mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and microorganisms living on the plants and animals and in the soil. What makes up a forest? Forest, according to the U.S. National Vegetation Classification System, consists of trees with overlapping crowns forming 60% to 100% cover. Woodlands are more open with 25% to 60% cover. Types of forests. Forests come in all shapes and sizes. The many different types of forests are generally classified according to location and climate. One is tropical rainforest. Year-round high temperatures and abundant rainfall makes this a dense, lush forest. Subtropical rainforest. These are found to the south and north of the tropical forest. The trees here are adapted to resist the summer drought. Mediterranean forest. These forests are found to be to the south of the temperate regions around the coast of Mediterranean, California, Chile, and Western Australia. Temperate forest. Found in such places as Eastern North America, Northeastern Asia, and Western and Eastern Europe. Temperate forests are mix of deciduous and coniferous evergreen trees. Coniferous forest. Coniferous forests inhabit the cold, windy regions around the poles. There are both hardwoods and conifers found in this region. Montane forests. These are also known as cloud forests because they receive most of their precipitation from the mist or fog that comes up from the lowlands. Plantation forests. There are around 140 million hectares of plantation forests in the world, according for around 7% of global forest cover. The productivity of planted forests in terms of supplying a sustainable volume of timber and fiber is usually greater than natural forest. Plantation produce around 40% of industrial wood. And that is my report about forests.
Forests provide a wide range of economic and social benefits to humankind. These include contributions to the overall economy, for example, through employment, processing, and trade of forest products and energy, and investments in the forest sector. They also include the hosting and protection of sites and landscapes of high cultural, spiritual, and recreational value. Maintaining and enhancing these functions is an integral part of sustainable forest management. Information on the status of entrance in socioeconomic benefits is thus essential in evaluating progress towards sustainable forest management, together with the more usual statistics and the predominantly environmental values considered under the other themes. These economic benefits are usually measured in monetary terms and may include income from employment in the sector, the value of the production of goods and services from forest, and the contribution of the sector to the national economy, energy supplies, and international trade. In addition, the economic viability or sustainability of the sector can be assessed by measures such as the profitability of forest enterprises or the level of investment. The social functions of forests are often more difficult to measure and can vary considerably among countries depending on their level of development and traditions. For example, in developed post-industrial societies, The benefits of forests for recreation and amenity values or the maintenance of a rural way of life may be most important, while in developing countries, the area of forest available for subsistence activities or the number of people employed in the sector may be a better indication of their social value. Given the difficulties of measuring the social benefits of forests, social functions are often measured in terms of inputs rather than outputs. All the international processes and criteria and indicators include a section on the monitoring and assessment of socioeconomic functions of benefits of the forestry sector. A wide variety of variables may be measured: production and consumption, recreation and tourism, funding and investment in the forest sector, cultural, social, and spiritual needs and values, forestry employment, health and safety, and community needs. In general, the measures presented in FRA 2005 are more restrictive than those proposed in some international criteria and indicators processes because they refer to benefits from forest only, rather than benefits from the whole forestry sector, which include downstream processing. No information was requested from countries on socioeconomic indicators related to health and safety, funding, investment, recycling, and contribution to energy related to health and safety, funding, investment, recycling, and contribution to energy supplies, owing to a lack of information on these aspects in many countries. In FRA 2005, countries provided information on four measures of socio-economic functions: value of wood and non-wood forest product removals. FRA 2005 examines the production of primary products, including excluding the benefits of downstream processing. Employment in forestry figures refer to employment in forestry activities rather than employment in the whole forestry sector, and they only include formal employment. Countries were asked to provide information for 1990 and 2000 only. Ownership of forest and other graded land. Three classes of ownership were used: public, private, and other. Countries were asked to provide information for 1990 and 2000 only. No forecasting on 2005 was done. Areas of forest designated for social services. Two measures were included: area of forest for which the provision of social services was designated as the primary function, and the total area of forest for which recreation, education, and other social services were designated as one of the functions. In general, the availability of information was highest for the area of forest designated for different functions and ownership of forest, and lowest for the value of NWFP removals. In addition, the quality of information reported on the value of outputs of wood and non-wood forest products was quite weak in several respects. Incompatible definitions and measurement units, partial responses from some countries, and statistics that contradict other sources or seem otherwise implausible.
One of the leading problems of our forest is its destruction and degradation. First, we must differentiate the two. When we say forest destruction or deforestation, it means any negative changes in the forest that changes or it damages its productivity. While forest destruction is the removal of forest and its conversion for a non-forest use like farms, ranches, and many more. What are the causes of deforestation and forest degradation? Well, experts believe that a major cause of deforestation are globalization and overpopulation. A little portion goes to farming and agriculture. Illegal logging is said to be responsible for 14% of deforestation and fuel wood removals. What are its effects? Deforestation and forest degradation are a contributor to global warming and are cited to be a major cause of the enhanced greenhouse effect. Water cycle is also affected by deforestation. It reduces the content of water in the soil and groundwater as well as the atmospheric moisture. This often causes erosion, landslides, and flooding. Deforestation and forest degradation greatly affects the biodiversity. The removal or destruction of area forests has resulted in a degraded environment. On a natural global scale, deforestation is known to be the cause of the extinction of many species. Deforestation in the Philippines. According to the DNR or the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Philippines has now only about 7 million hectares of forest land left. The illegal logging has contributed to the rapid deforestation. This activity resulted to consistent flooding and landslide that killed millions of families and the destruction of properties. Deforestation in the Philippines also caused disruption of water cycle, loss of biodiversity, and climate change.
This is Orlando Iquisa. My report is about forest conservation. The forest. A forest, also referred to as a wood or the woods, is an area with a high density of trees. Forest destruction is a serious threat to life's future on our planet. It has major effects on our global climate. It leads to the loss of millions of species that are important in sustaining a living Earth. Land degradation is the denuding action of weathering, running water, air on the upper layer of the earth, which is caused by land erosion. Deforestation is defined as the large-scale removal of forests and the permanent destruction of woodlands. Ecological overshoot is using resources faster than they can regenerate and creating waste such as carbon dioxide faster than it can be absorbed, which would cause decrease in biodiversity. Effects of forest destruction. Climate change is caused by human activities that have resulted in an increased concentration of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, including carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, ozone, and nitrous oxide. Global warming is just one of the kinds of changes in climates that the Earth has undergone and will continue to go through in the future. Forest conservation. One popular solution to forest depletion that has been in effect for a few decades is forest conservation. Forest conservation helps protect, manage, and restore the world's most important forests by identifying threats and developing solutions. Ecological biodiversity. Forest supports biodiversity, providing habitat for wildlife. Reforestation. It is the rebuilding of existing forests and woodlands which have been depleted by planting new ones. Recycling is processing waste into new products for reuse to conserve the ecology and environment. Recycling preserves natural resources which would otherwise find use as raw materials to manufacture new products. The process of recycling leads to reduced energy usage, less pollution, and lower greenhouse gas emissions when compared to virgin production. Environmental awareness. Educate people around the world about the negative impacts of deforestation and what can be done to prevent it. Help finance more educational programs. Help countries make the right economic decisions. Good farming practices. Implement more efficient farming methods to encourage the reuse of land. Selective tree cutting. Cut down only the mature trees. Do not kill baby trees, and for every tree that is lost, plant another one as a replacement. Legislative intervention. Sign international treaties and make laws regulation to control deforestation. Future. We should be dedicated to maintain a natural, safe, and clean environment so that our children can enjoy the same resources and beauty that we have for generations. Every act one makes can make a difference to save our forest and to save our world. This has been Nando Ikisa reporting. Thank you.